Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today bringing you a Bethesda news update. Now before anything, be sure to check out the link in the description of my previous video. That is the confirmation of Alliance Brotherhood of Steel returning in Fallout 4, also with some speculation followed soon after. So be sure to check that out if you're into that kind of stuff. Anyways, Bethesda may not have another E3 press conference next year. This article is courtesy of IGN. And this has been on the news back burner for a while, so I do apologize for being late on it. We did discuss this in the Ham Radio podcast 2 episodes ago, but I know that not everyone can sit through that, so I do like to sometimes get around to news we discussed in there and put it on my channel as a separate video. Not because I run out of content, but just because I know not everyone can sit down for 2 hours every week and listen to a podcast. So without further ado, let's dive into this news. So, Pete Hines has commented on the fact that Bethesda may not have another E3 press conference next year, which is both sad but understandable entirely. He says, "I don't know if we'll do one next year," as Hines told Telegraph. "I don't know if we'll do one again. This year felt like the right time to do this kind of thing." Hines also shared his thoughts on E3 as a whole, noting that he hopes it doesn't become too fan-oriented. "I hope E3 doesn't become another PAX," he said. "We already have PAX, we already have Eurogamer, Paris Games Week, and Gamescom, and a lot of shows that are for the public. I think taking a show that still has a very important role as a trade/industry event needs to maintain that, and not suddenly say, here's another 20,000 fans to throw in. It's already kind of a mess, there are already lines, and it's difficult to get around." So just some of his personal thoughts on E3 as a whole, that he's kind of afraid it's transforming, and this just seemed like the right time for Bethesda to step in while it was still, in fact, a trade/industry event and debut some stuff. But with that said, let's discuss Bethesda's E3 press conference first this year. They had a lot of big reveals, people. The big reveal of the most anticipated game ever, Fallout 4. You can't top that. Then you have Dishonored 2, the reveal of a highly anticipated sequel that everyone has wanted, surprisingly as well, because that game has gained a lot of traction over the years where more and more people have hopped on the bandwagon wanting a sequel for that. And then you have the reveal of Doom, which has its own hardcore dedicated fan base that is very big, and everyone's been excited to see it since QuakeCon of last year, where only a select few got to see it. So Bethesda had 3 huge reveals, and then some shockers like Fallout Shelter, Elder Scrolls Legends, these mobile games that fit, that work, that seemed really appealing and are in fact appealing. If you're speaking about Fallout Shelter, we've obviously not been able to play Elder Scrolls Legends, but it just, like P9 said, seemed like the right time to do an E3 press conference because they had so much to show us in such little time because everything was ready. Fallout Shelter was ready, Elder Scrolls Legends is coming out this year, Dishonored 2 is coming out very early next year, Doom is coming out early next year, Fallout 4 is coming out this year. You see what I'm saying? It seems like everything was within the next year would already have been out during this press conference, and that's exciting. And so with that all said, it is like the right time for an E3 press conference. Now let's theorize here a bit. Say Bethesda does host an E3 press conference. Yeah, they'll have like a new game reveal, but from my eyes, what do we have? Maybe some DLC for all 3 games they revealed in the previous press conference. That's exciting, and I feel like that's E3 worthy because Todd Howard came to E3 with, I believe, the first Skyrim DLC, which was Dawnguard, and that makes entire sense. I remember seeing that and being very excited for it. But nonetheless, I feel like DLC doesn't justify its own press conference, and that what P9 said is entirely right. I'm also a believer that if you look at games like, or game developers or publishers such as EA, Ubisoft, it's really hard to host your own press conference every single year, and you can tell because it's almost like an every other year thing for both these companies, that they seem to just either have a good year or a bad year. Like last year EA was pretty good, but this year they were absolutely terrible. Okay, there was hardly anything interesting. Same thing could be said for Ubisoft. They're fairly consistent, but they just have these re-reveals of games that have been delayed, stuff like that, where it just shows that perhaps some of these companies should step back. And I feel like Bethesda's smart enough to know that, okay, yeah, we generated a lot of hype for our company, everyone's really excited for our games, maybe we should do this next year, but the smart choice was not to go on stage and make an ass of yourself and just reveal a bunch of DLC. You know, that's not that exciting. And obviously, you know, maybe some expansion, some new games, who knows. But as we can tell, as big big as Bethesda's E3 conference was, we kind of knew what we were getting with Doom, Fallout 4, then the surprise reveal of Dishonored, and a couple mobile games. It really wasn't that huge in the scale or number of games we got, but we got everything we wanted, and that's hard to do in an E3 conference, and Bethesda had the opportunity to do that, and they gave it to us. So, like P9 said, I feel like it was the right time for that, and I'm not too surprised that there probably won't be another E3 conference from Bethesda, but I wanted to personally thank Bethesda for doing it right the one time they did do it, because it's not easy, and you got to give them the world's biggest load of credit for what they did, and I'm just very grateful for them. And they just do it right. I mean, it sucks, you know, it's gonna suck that next year we won't have like this big conference to look forward to, but you know, we're gonna have Fallout 4, we're gonna have Fallout 4 mods. Like, maybe something will happen, who knows? I mean, a year is a long time from now. We'll see what happens, but I feel like it's too soon to start planning a Bethesda E3 conference, and maybe in 2017 they'll do it, you know, when the time is right. Apparently, rumor is, and I'm saying very, very specifically, rumor is that in 2017 Bethesda has a space combat FPS kind of like game that's gonna have like open world exploration coming out, but that I've only seen a few rumors online about that from some insiders that I have seen some information come out true from, so take that as you will. But I'm just saying, like, it doesn't seem like next year would be the right year for another conference. It seems like when they have big games to reveal, that's when they'll have conferences, and so that's kind of a good precedent to set for Bethesda. It's good to have that bar set where, like, we're not going to have an E3 conference next year, but the next time we do have one, you can expect big games like you did this time. And I think that's a good path to take for Bethesda. But anyways, now you guys know what Bethesda's doing with their E3 conference next year, most likely not having one. But what do you guys think on this? Let me know in the comment section down below. Other than that, be sure to follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.